All right. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you joining. I think we're probably good to start up. It's quite a few people on already. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. Now we can start. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. We thank you for joining this month's safety meeting. We appreciate you guys as we are here in Southern California. We're in full-fledged summer mode now in terms of the weather. And everyone being on vacation and all that kind of good stuff. So it's here, and now we got to deal with the changes for the next few months. It's funny because you deal with it every year, but sometimes each year it does feel different for some reason in terms of just patterns and stuff that are not always the same. But then there's some stuff that are the same. But as we go into this summer, we definitely want to make sure we keep our intensity and focus on safety, regardless of what changes around us, whether it's job, whether it's FedEx, the industry, politics, economy, whatever. Regardless of all that stuff that goes on around us, we have to make sure that we control what we can control, and that's ourselves. The way we think, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we drive, the way we operate, safety, of course. Controlling the things that we can't control will help us from a day-to-day standpoint, whether it's professionally and personally. All right. If you try to stress and panic and try to figure out the stuff that's going on around you, it tends to stretch you thin versus controlling what you can control, focusing on that, and just doing better every single day. It will always lead to good things happening. So again, we thank you for joining us. We want to just kind of refresh on a few things, talk about defensive driving and what a defensive driver looks like. Just a reminder about professionalism as a truck driver. It's always important to be reminded why you do what you do, why you got into this industry, why it's so important. A lot of times people don't understand how important the trucking industry is until trucking companies start going out of business, or the economy gets bad, or maybe there's a strike somewhere and another carrier, and product and goods aren't being moved around the country as quickly. Then people realize, oh man, we need the trucking industry. But we play a huge part in our economy, play a huge part in our day-to-day lives, and there should be a level of pride that you have in being able to participate in commerce and from that standpoint. So, wear it as a badge of honor, because it is. It's not something you take lightly. Not everybody can do it, so that should give you a level of pride of being a professional truck driver. It might seem simple because you've been doing it a long time, but it's not as simple, and it's not something that everybody can do. So be thankful, be proud of having that opportunity every single day to go out and help and participate in the economy like the way you guys do every single day. But anyways, we'll get started with this month's topics, show some videos as well, and then we'll turn it over to the team to talk about any FedEx updates. All right, David.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you staying tuned to us. I want to talk a couple of things. One is about the weather, the fact that it's summer. We're having record temperatures throughout the country, not just the Southwest and the West, but there's also a lot of rain in Iowa and Minnesota. A lot of places have rain. So as a professional driver, the first thing you should do is, first of all, be rested. And second is check your weather. Check the weather. There's a couple of websites. One of them is the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. They have a website called Road Conditions. And on that website, there is a map that shows the conditions of the roads throughout the United States. And it not only tells you what it is today, but tomorrow and the day after that, what the weather's going to be like. So between the tornadoes and the heavy rains and the hot temperatures, there's going to be a lot of issues. So you should be aware of what's going to be happening in terms of weather. School is out, obviously, and there's going to be a lot of vacationing, a lot of traveling. There's going to be a lot of motorhomes and travel trailers on the road, and those people don't always know how to drive those things. A lot of them don't have to be licensed to drive them. But you know, like I know, that if you've got a trailer behind you, or if you're driving a big bus, all of a sudden, uh, in terms of your vehicle, those those things are kind of important. Just being aware of defensive driving, give them extra space, give them extra time, because they may be trying to figure out, well, do I turn here or do I don't turn there, whatever. So be aware that the drivers that are going to be out there are not necessarily experienced like we are. Okay, that's the other thing. A lot of times, the things that can happen is that the temperature is hot. People get aggravated. They get stressed out. They want to change lanes and all those kinds of things. You need to be aware of that. The other thing that during the summer that happens is repair of roads. You need to be aware of road work and road workers, especially. In California, every year they have a memorial ceremony for all the workers on the road that were killed on the job. This year, I should say last year, there were 26 workers that had been killed while they were on the road. Even with road signs and trucks with flashing lights and all of that, people just don't pay attention. So you need to be aware of that. When there's construction on, slow down. It's no big deal. And remember also that you got to move over one lane in most states, actually. Move over one lane if you got an emergency vehicle on the side of the road that has a flashing light, or operating of either police officers or construction or tow trucks or whatever. You need to move over the lane. And if you can't move over, you need to slow down. Weather is, like I said, weather's a big deal. You need to be ready for that. You need to have water in your truck. You need to check for storms and stuff. Have yourself a pair of sunglasses. And if you have to wear regular glasses, make sure your sunglasses will fit over your glasses, or you need to get a set of prescription glasses that are sunglasses as well. Okay. As a professional driver, there's a couple of things you need to be also aware of. One is your speed management. Okay. Speed limits that are posted, except if they're posted specifically for trucks, are for cars, not necessarily for trucks. Okay. If speeding over 15 miles an hour increases your likelihood of a crash by 40%. Also, FedEx will disqualify you for I think it's 3 years now if you are caught even in your personal car speeding excessively, not just in the truck. You will lose that. You will lose that part of the contract. You need to think about, again, the construction work, the schools out, all those kinds of things, road conditions. If you have an accident, there are several ways for the NTSB or the whoever's investigating it to determine how fast you are going. First of all, on the cameras that we have that are in the truck, there's also telemetrics. There's 3 or 4 lines underneath the visual that say how fast you were going, what the RPMs of the truck, what the RPMs of the engine are, what gear you were in. All of those telemetrics are available to any officers. Okay. When we had our accident in Pennsylvania 3 years ago, the NTSB went through, and the only thing they didn't ask me was what kind of toilet paper we used. But everything else was under scrutiny. Turns out that, again, I'll repeat this, turns out that we were not involved in it, and our driver was cited for having actually saved lives because he was driving well below the speed limit in the rain, whereas the people that were passing him were not. So those are considerations. Again, posted speeds are for cars, not for trucks. And this is especially true on turns and curves. They can be your skid marks can determine how fast you were going by examining the weight of your vehicle and seeing how the marks that you leave on the road are. Okay. I want to end this with a thing that we had an incident here 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago, in Phoenix, Arizona, by a team from Rialto. They hit a vehicle that was parked on the side of the road. Unfortunately, the vehicle that was parked, the driver and the co-driver were out examining their tires. And our contractor's drivers killed both of those drivers. They were outside the vehicle running into them. Now, I haven't seen the recording of it, but in my hundreds of examination of accidents as part of the ATA and the accident review committee that I was chairman of, two things happened. One of two things. Either the driver fell asleep. This was at 3 a.m. in the morning. Either the driver fell asleep or he was distracted. He wasn't paying attention. There is no reason to hit somebody that's parked on the side of the road unless you're reaching for something, or you're examining something, or you're listening to something else and your mind is somewhere else, or you're watching your phone, or you're touching your phone, or you're reaching down for a sandwich. These things are all distractions. I've emphasized many, many times, distractions can be fatal. Okay, and in this case, it was fatal. All right. The other thing is, one more thing before I go, is make sure your tire pressures are correct in hot temperatures. This is before you actually, the tires get hot. In hot temperatures, your tires will expand, the pressure will expand, and that means you have more opportunity for a blowout or a flat. Okay, so make sure, if you can, even check the pressures on your trailers as well. Okay, because over pressurized can mean that that those tires can blow. I remember years ago on a trip from Rialto to Columbus, Ohio. It was 103 across the country. I had 7 blowouts there and back. So we had to reduce I finally reduced the air on the tires because of that. But FedEx got mad at me because I wasn't keeping the tires up to pressure. But so check your tire pressure, make sure that it's good. Okay. Any other questions?
Before we continue, can I say something?
David,
I send invitation,
David, one second.
When I
Question.
oh sorry.
Go ahead, Zenia.
Yeah, when I send invitation for this meeting, I always write in the email and in the text that you cannot be driving if you are participating of the meeting, that you have to find a safe location. So today there's someone participating while driving. I really need that you disconnect, because that's a distraction and we don't want to cause distractions. You know, the meetings are on Mondays, the third Monday of the month or fourth. You have to find a safe location, a truck stop, a rest area, or stay in line home. But please do not drive while participating. So disconnect. Thank you.
Yeah, that the mental requirements for listening to the conversation and remembering what's said and taking in that information distracts you from doing your visual examination of the road, your speed, looking in your mirrors, checking traffic and all that. You cannot do two things at once. I've talked about this before. There's no such thing as multitasking. It doesn't exist. What happens is your mind will go to the two different things back and forth between the two. You will either pay attention for a little bit here or a little bit there or a little bit there, and it'll go from one to the other. You cannot do two things at once. And that little time that it takes for you to be doing something else by listening to a conversation like this training means that you may run into somebody on the side of the road, just like the drivers that were involved in this fatal accident 3 weeks ago. It only takes 1 second. You're traveling down the road at 65 miles an hour. Calculate how many feet do you travel before, while you are that 1 or 2 seconds that you're doing something. What can happen in those 1 or 2 seconds? Somebody can step out from a vehicle. There's a lot of things that can happen. You need to be paying attention. What Xenia is saying to you is exactly right. You should not be participating in this while you are driving. You shouldn't be talking to anyone while you're driving. It's a distraction. Okay, one more thing. Don't pull trailers away from the door, especially swing trailers if they're loaded. Fell is the driver's responsibility. Yes, it is. Have the switches pull trailers from the door. Never park trailers in a spot. You need to pull in and drop trailers in the designated areas. Okay, I'm through for today. Drive safe, people.
We're gonna really quick show a video, kind of in relation to what we were just talking about with, just the hands-free and making sure you're pulling over when you have to, have a conversation, and especially with this training, it's a great point. But we're gonna show this video about hands-free devices. It's something that's some good information that we can glean from this. Let me share my screen here. Right screen. All right, everybody should see this.
All right, sir, time to get your racing gloves on. We have an entire episode that puts the word dangerous into the phrase dangerous driving.
Like what?
We have a story all about the dangers of driving while talking on your cell phone. There's a myth that there is no improvement in safety talking hands-free versus holding on to your phone, that they both distract you just as much. And I think we should test that.
Adam's going to run this test twice. First with the phone held in his hand, and then secondly, hands-free. Then I'm also going to run the test twice, but I'm going to do it in the inverse order. Hello, Adam. I've got my questions ready for you, and we're good to go.
3, 2, 1, here we go.
Okay, so if you could compete with the Olympics, what event would you want to be in?
Second, there we go. Hold on, sorry. I think I would do the luge. It requires, I think, the least amount of acuity. Adams flunked with flying colors. Got done. That was awful.
I'm going to suck, I can tell you already. What was the question again?
Why would you like to fly?
Well, because that would it would save a lot of gasoline, actually. I could. Oh, look at that! I bumped over a whole bunch of things.
Jamie scores the worst result of the day. A disappointing 66.
That was awesome. Beautiful. Near identical scores for each of the two techniques. Amy and I have realized we need much more controlled, scientific, and realistic conditions, which is why we've come here to enlist the help of the experts at the Stanford University Automotive Innovation Facility. This is their state-of-the-art driving simulator. It is awesome. From the front seat of this car, you are completely immersed in a world controlled and designed by a computer.
He's doing like 95. Interesting. We'll see how he likes this.
The 30 volunteer drivers will be judged on whether they pay attention to the GPS instructions
At the next intersection, turn left.
and whether or not they crash.
How much dirt is? We just ran down a cyclist. This test is over.
When the next 4 volunteers also crash and burn, looking good for the myth.
Stop the car and please, license and registration.
Guys have all the data they could hope for.
I gotta call you back. Yes, we have results. We tested 30 drivers out in Stanford, 15 hands full, 15 hands free. Here is the result. Hands full, 1 passed, 5 failed by driving the wrong way, 9 failed by crashing. Hands free, 1 passed, 6 failed by getting lost, and 8 failed by crashing.
What's that mean statistically?
Statistically, it means no difference.
Well, there you have it. Don't use your cell phone while you're driving.
Yeah, I'm done. Okay, so where do you want to meet for lunch? Absolutely.
Wow, that was amazing. To make something that is easy to want to do every single day, in terms of the urge to talk on your phone while you're driving, how they could put it in a very literal standpoint or illustration and show, you know, as human beings, we're highly defective in a lot of ways. We're not computers, we're not machines where, you know, we can just, they can code us up and then we can do exactly what needs to be done. Our brains don't operate that like that. And then you combine that with vehicles that are, you know, filled with blind spots and filled with, you know, deficiencies as well. And, you know, the human and the vehicle, and we'll have a lot of challenges. And so adding to those challenges with cell phones and distractions like eating and having conversations with the co-driver, all that can lead to accidents or being lost, not paying attention or getting into accidents that, you know, we could have avoided if we were paying attention, in terms of driving for ourselves and for others. But a great reminder, again, like we've kind of talked about here the last few minutes, is just eliminate the distractions and stay focused on you know, the safe driving aspects of what we do. Don't take it for granted. I'm going to switch back over to the agenda here, and then Xenia, if you guys want to take it away.
Yes, for the updates, they talk also in Orlando. They talk about the summer driving and the hazards that, as also David mentioned, there will be a lot of kids out of school. So you need to pay special attention when you are driving in the city, that with the sidewalks and the crossing, because, you know, the kids sometimes they don't know better. They will not have the guard waiting or helping them to cross. So we need to be more vigilant and out there with the kids that are driving in the highway. They do not have that much experience driving in a highway. So we really need to be very vigilant, and more when you mix that with the Florida weather, with the winds and the thunderstorms. So be very careful. Then they mentioned the top third violation still is seatbelt. So they are talking a lot about that. They are mentioning that people are using the seatbelt wrong, like under their arm, or they leave the seatbelt way too loose, or they connect the seatbelt and they buckle the seatbelt in the seat and they just put it through their chest. If you're stopped by a law enforcement and you start maneuvering and trying to take out your seatbelt and put it back, the police will notice and you're gonna get a ticket for something that you can just wear in the fashion that was intended to be wear correctly. So I put a picture in there. Please make sure you're wearing your seatbelt at all times. The camera system is catching when you're not wearing your seatbelt correctly, also, and it's sending events. So make sure you're doing your things right. In Ocala, it's coupling and uncoupling. It's very hot, it's humid, cars are getting hot as well from the dolly. Make sure that you watch your fingers, that you use appropriate gloves. Don't use the plastic ones for the mechanics, and be careful with your fingers. They mention also the second top violation is cognitive distraction, and that's why we're giving so much emphasis to this. Using text to speech, talking to Siri, talking to Alexa, listening to different podcasts or watching videos. We already know that's cognitive distraction and you're gonna get a ticket. If you are in an accident and they request your phone or they check your phone, they put a subpoena in your phone, and you're doing any of these activities, you are gonna get in trouble. So please take care of your license. Don't put yourself in danger. Then also they talk about the heat and the warm weather, more people with DUI driving, harsh weather, summer heat, be careful. Double, triple check, as David says, your tire pressure, your air conditioning, your wipers as well. Give special attention to all that during this weather. And pay attention to distracted, aggressive driver. Do not engage. Do not show them your finger or try to push them with your truck or do any silly thing. Just yield and do not engage. Then happy birthday to everyone who born in June. We want to say thank you to City Mali, to Wilhelm, to Tony, to Ruben Q. They did awesome in the TDC competition. I volunteer, so I witnessed and Ruben how hard they work. So if you see them around, say, hey, kudos for you for representing us in that competition. And for safety, I learned this. I didn't know you call it that way, so I want to share with you. They mentioned avoid highway hypnosis. Hopefully that's how you said it. And it's a trance. It says it's a trance-like state that occurs when a driver is on the road for a long time, especially, and it's what you say, Aaron, when you're on a familiar run, that you get that comfortable with that run. So they call that highway hypnosis. And they also call it like in the white line fever, because that white line on the road, it says can have a hypnotic effect. So take breaks, rest when it's your time to rest. So whenever you come to work, you are in your A game. 401k, you have until July 1st to let me know your intent. If you want to change something, if you qualify, I send you an email. And if you want to enroll, let me know. It's before July 1st. Then we cannot make changes or enroll anybody. Thank you so much for your hard work. We're very, very proud of you. And then we share some pictures. I don't know if Aaron can show them for the TDC. Yeah, that's one of our participants. I think that's City Mali in the truck doing the course. And then that's us in the celebration over there that we had. So thank you again for being part of Lugmo Corp.
Hey, Aaron?
Yes, sir.
I've got one more thing to talk about. I let go 2 drivers 2 weeks ago, 1 driver 1 week ago, and 1 driver last week. The reason being that the AI that is in the camera system picked up that one was not wearing his seatbelt. He actually had his seatbelt tucked in behind his back. Okay, that was 1 driver. The other driver, believe it or not, was putting eye drops in his eyes with his head folded back while he was driving down the road, both hands off the wheel. Now, I didn't pick that up, but the AI in the computer system now that Linux is doing is picking that up and sending us messages. So, and from what I'm hearing, it's going to be that AI is going to be in effect September 1st for everybody, all of the camera systems. So if you think you're getting away with it because, oh, I don't have to do this. You know, I saw another driver checking his phone out. He's looking down. His eyes are looking down. You know, just every once in a while, he'll look down and look down. There's no reason to be looking there except if he's looking at his phone. So it's coming. AI is going to pick you out and say, this is what you're doing. So be aware.
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. It's, you know, all this is in an effort to support safety, to get as much information to you guys as we can. Great reminders and refreshers. At the end of the day, you got to apply it. You're out there on the road. You know, I might say by yourself, but you're governing yourself. You're managing yourself. So you got to hold yourself accountable to these things that we're talking about, and just be better every single day. That's all we're looking for. And of course, just stay safe out there. And you guys have a good rest of the month. And we'll talk next month. Thank you.